You're listening to the Pants Off Podcast with Clark Bartram and Jeremy Jackson. CBT's Performance Apparel, where fashion meets performance. Upload your custom design or grab the CBT's Deal of the Week at clarkstees.com. The podcast with CB and JJ is sponsored by Providence Video Productions in Escondido, California, providers of full creative, video, and audio production services. Utilizing state-of-the-art professional equipment for all your broadcast needs. Webpage embedded or live streaming videos and podcasts. Aerial drone videography. Music videos, 3D animation, studio, and field production. Contact us at providencevid.com.
We are live here on the Pants Off Podcast. What is going on, everyone? I got a great show for you today. I am so excited. I got my man Sandy Collora in the house today. What's up, Jim? Give him some applause. Jim's a little slow on the applause sometimes.
Been a while since I've been here.
Yeah. So, Sandy, what is going on, my brother?
God, what is going on? Just working, diving, fishing, surfing, staying fit, staying healthy.
So let's start with that, staying fit. I got to jump on. So before I get into this, for those of you who do not know who Sandy Collora is, way back in a time far, far away, I was called to do a little movie. And I had no idea what it was going to be. And I got the script, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, Batman, what the hell's going on? I had no idea what was about to happen with this invitation that I got to go and audition for this movie called Batman Dead End. So fast forward, 10, 15 years later, I don't know how long it's been now. It's been
15 years.
15 years later. Sandy walks in looking jacked, looking amazing, dude. So there's a whole lot that I want to talk to you about today. The evolution of your physique, the evolution of your
My
career.
physique.
Dude, no, because that is part
What
of it.
physique?
Dude, you're looking ripped, because we have to add that into this podcast today, because that's who I am and what I do. But you weren't fit when we first met.
No, I was not.
You thought you were, maybe. You'd wanted to be. But compared to what you are now at 50, dude, you're looking, you're like a rock, legitimately.
Oh, thanks, brother. Everybody's got excuses, right?
Right.
It's like, it's my dad always just told me there's a big difference between an excuse and a reason. The reason why I was not fit when we met is because my mom was sick. And I've been a fit guy my whole life. The football player, the baseball player, lacrosse, diving, surfing. I've always been, not where I am now,
right,
but fit. I wasn't overweight, and I wasn't certainly out of shape. But, then, my mom got sick, and, work, that period of my life, that whole, from 2000 to 2005, 2006 was crazy, busy. That's the peak of everything, of, coming into being a director and that kind of stuff. And it was I just didn't make time to train, and I didn't eat right. And that's on me.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
Not anymore, though.
No,
so we're going to wrap around back to that, but I want to go back to this little movie you decided to do. What year was that? When
2003.
So 2003, I'm sitting at home minding my own business. So here's my intention with having Sandy on the podcast today, is to give all of the fans out there the backstory to Batman Dead End and what they didn't see on screen for the 8.5 minutes that movie was. And all of the stuff that I experienced as a fitness guy who received this random phone call one day from a friend of mine.
On the recommendation of Jason Ellis.
Jason Ellis, yeah. So, guys, we want to take you on a journey here on the Pants Off Podcast. And by the way, once again, my pants are not coming off until Jeremy comes back. Plus, I'm not doing it around Sandy Collora. I'm just going to leave it there. So,
that's an inside joke.
That's an inside joke, but you guys can figure it out. I'm not doing that to myself. So one day I'm sitting at home minding my own business, and I get a phone call from Jason Ellis, a fitness photographer. He says, Clark, listen, I have an opportunity for you. And I'm like, okay, Jason, what is it? He goes, there's a guy who called me that is looking for someone to play Batman in this movie that he's doing. I said, well, tell me more about it. He's like, well, he wants a guy with a square jaw, a deep voice, good looking, fit. He doesn't want the guy to have to wear a costume. And I'm listening to all this stuff, right? And I'm like, okay, and it's not really registering in my mind. I just randomly get this call. No.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, yeah, and he wants him to be like 6 feet tall. And I'm like, well, why did you call me? Why did you call me, dude? I'm like 5'8.5" on a good hair day, right? If I puff it up like Johnny Bravo.
In shoes,
yeah. So, no, I am 5'8".
Yeah, okay,
all right, come on, man. Everyone acts like I'm freaking.
Hey, listen, I'm not tall either, so I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm taller than you. But.
Right. So, we got to talk about, too, the shoes on World's Finest. That was a classic one.
So funny.
But, so I'm like, no, I'm not going. And Jason's talking me into it. Come on, dude, you just got to go. You can't turn these kinds of things down. You never know what's going to happen.
It could be an opportunity. Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen, and it could be an opportunity. The two things I want you to hang your thoughts on right now, because that's exactly what went down. I didn't know what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And the opportunities that came since then have been tremendous. So anyway.
For both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I decide, okay, I'm going to go. I get on the phone, we talk, and I just remember hearing you and just, I don't know, there was something about you. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go meet this guy. So I drive all the way up 2 hours.
To level 7.
Yeah. And, man, the trip up there was I got to share.
What was going through your head?
What am I doing? Why am I driving 2 hours? I'm not 6 feet tall. That was what was going through my head. There's going to be another dude
really
that walks
that hung
in.
up on the height thing?
Well, because every time I go to an audition, they say, we want you this tall. I think they ask that for a reason, right? And I didn't know Hollywood. You stand on apple boxes, and Tom Cruise is 5'7".
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone's 5'8". Yeah,
right. And I don't know all that because I'm not a movie guy. This is not what I do. But so here's something that happened. Anita, my wife, took my car, and I always leave my wallet in my car. So I had no cash.
Oh, I remember this now.
I had no cash. So I take her car and I drive up. I'm running out of gas halfway up. So I barely make it to the audition. And I go in, I do the audition. We're having fun. And I felt the audition. I mean, I felt it that day. And I remember you looking at me in the middle of that audition like...
Well, because you grabbed me.
I grabbed you and slammed you against the wall.
It was a file cabinet. You slammed me into the file cabinet. And I was like, oh, okay, this guy's serious. Yeah.
I didn't know you had to do it soft.
No. Hey,
listen.
Dude, you were there. You were in it. And I appreciated it,
So anyway,
and then I had to give you $20.
Yeah, I couldn't get home. I had no money. So after the thing ended, I'm like, okay, are we done now? You're like, yeah, why? I said, I need to borrow $20. You looked at me like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, dude, you're reaching in your wallet real slow and you pull out a 20. I snatch it back. I say, I'll pay you back tomorrow with interest. You're like, no, just give me $20. That's fine. Yeah. So that is kind of our initial meeting, man. Yeah. We went up there. I had no money for gas. I did it anyway. And I did the audition. And so at that point, what were you thinking?
I'm thinking I got my Batman. I just gotta see him in the cowl, and then, because I think shortly after that, you came into my studio, didn't you? And you put it was one of the Keaton cowls, wasn't it? Yeah, that we put on you just so I could see the jaw and everything.
So Sandy's all about setting things up. If you see a studio, it's got all kind of creatures and comic books. It's a place to see. I mean, just for the sheer sight of it. But when I went in, I'll never forget, you had the whole scene set up. All the lights were off. The cowl was shining. You had lights shining down on the cowl. You were kind of in the background in the dark, and Simon was back there with you. And I walk in like, what the hell is going on? Why is this thing? And you're like, can you put that on?
What we use? Hair conditioner? Like
we had to put gel or something on my head
with hair conditioner because we had to slide it on.
Keaton's head is small.
Yeah.
And mine's pretty big.
But we got it on you.
We got it on.
And you looked like I thought you were going to look. And you left. And Simon looked at me and I don't remember exactly what he said, but he's like, I really like that guy. And I said, yeah. I said, I like him too. I said, I think that's our guy, And I hate sounding cliche, but the rest is history.
It really is.
It truly is.
Yeah. But behind that, apparently, Sylvester Stallone was the guy that was going to be in the cowl.
Yeah, that was we could actually do either a whole podcast or a whole documentary just on that alone,
So we need to
because
talk
I
about
spent
that.
time with him.
Yeah,
I mean, I
that's
actually
huge.
spent time with him. And we talked about the costume. We talked about, how I wanted to portray the Batman, and he was into it, dude. He was in, and I'll never forget this. And people, if you haven't seen the documentary, we should mention the
Behind
documentary.
the Mask. You got to go on. You can see it on Amazon.
Amazon, you can get it on Amazon, you can get it on iTunes. It's called Behind the Mask, the Batman Dead End story, if you want to know more. But yeah, we were, me and Henry Alvarez and a couple other guys were in Henry's van, and we were on our way up to Stallone's house. We were going to life cast him to sculpt the cowl over, and he called me on my little Motorola flip phone, and he says, "Hey, he said, look, man, I got some bad news, kid. I can't do it. I'm talking to my manager, and it's not really a good idea. I got more to lose than you, and blah blah blah." And
That's a good Stallone, right?
Yeah, but that opened the door for you, man. As close friends as we are, I mean, I know the one thing, we can always be honest with each other, right?
Oh, yeah.
I would be lying if I told you that sometimes I don't think about what Batman Dead End would have been if Stallone was my Batman, and if it would have changed anything, or if would it have been better, not as good. I don't know, man. People saw you, and the overwhelming opinion of people was, that's Batman.
Well, I think the beauty of it was, of course, it would have been great with Stallone, but it would have been, oh, that's Stallone as Batman. And I think the goal of the franchise at the time was to not have someone recognizable be in the cowl, because it would be, oh, that's
so-and-so from so-and-so.
So-and-so from so-and-so in the cowl, and that's apparently how Christian Bale came to be, because at the time he was not known necessarily, other than the mechanic.
Do you know Mike Mack had fitted all those guys for the screen tests? So they took the suits that they had made, because Mack had worked on the crew for forever, and Batman and Robin and all that. So they took those suits, and I believe, let's see if I can remember. He said it was Christian, it was Cillian Murphy, it was Jake Gyllenhaal,
Wow.
and someone else. There were 4 guys. I don't remember who the other guy was. It was Bale, Gyllenhaal, Cillian Murphy, who wound up playing the Scarecrow, and Mac had to put them in the muscle suits. And I remember he called me when he got home from the screen test, and he's all, dude. He said, I don't know who this Christian Bale guy is, but he nailed it. He said it's the closest thing to Clark that I've ever seen. And I thought it was interesting that he would say it's the closest thing to Clark, because at that point, we like you were just Batman at that point, you know what I mean? Like
Especially
to
with
us,
Mac.
to us.
Yeah, you and Mac,
Yeah.
you had this ritual where you'd go to the comic book stores
Every
every
Wednesday.
week.
Yep.
And when I first met him, so he's a costume designer in Hollywood.
Special effects guy, mold maker, specialty costume designer. Yeah, Mike McFarland, one of my best friends.
So he's worked with all the biggies in there. And I remember walking in to meet him and him looking me up and down like, who's this guy?
Scrutinizing, for sure.
Yeah, I had to pass the test. And obviously, and it still goes to this day back to the whole height thing. He'll bust my balls.
He'll bust your balls on that till the day that we're all in the box. He's going to bust your balls on that one.
But the evolution of his respect for me.
Not to interrupt.
No.
The best one was, remember when I made the Mego action?
yeah.
Remember when I made the action figure?
He's
He picks it up, he looks like, look, actual size. That was the best. That was the best one. That was so perfect.
It's nonstop with that guy. But those now are coming out of respect and a love,
of course,
and a friendship, because I can remember day after day, rehearsal after rehearsal, costume fitting after costume fitting. I could see his level of
trust in
trust.
you.
Yeah,
growing.
And trust is the word, is really good, because this is a character that this guy loves.
Oh, he holds Batman so beloved and dear in his heart.
He's like, okay, this dude, a fitness guy, is going to come in here and put on some Under Armour and play my favorite freaking superhero of all time.
Even before you showed up, he was giving me crap about it. Man, he's like, it's got to be. He's like, I'm not against the cloth costume, the spandex. He's like, but it's got to be the right guy, dude. He's like, you got to get the right guy. That's the whole movie is going to fall, or it's going to sink or swim based on whoever you cast as the Batman. And he was right, and I knew he was right. So it was believe me, it was no, easy thing, and you got to remember, as a filmmaker, as the guy that's going to be directing this thing, it's about the look, and you have to fit the cowl, and you have to embody that character, but it's also going to be what's this guy like? Like, how easy is he going to be to work with? How are we going to click? And the fact that we clicked so well, so quickly, and the fact that you were literally willing to do anything I asked you to do, I knew it was going to be successful. I just knew it. I mean, not to sound egotistical, from the first days that we started rehearsing, and just, like Henry Alvarez says in the making of, remember way back when, like, you start seeing like the costume fittings, and then after you made the cowl and we test fitted that on you and everything, every little piece we did, it just got closer and closer and closer and closer. And then when you walked on the set, that said it all. There it was. It was all lit. Vince and I had already pre-lit it. And when you walked into the alley, man, it was just turn the rain towers on, and you literally got transported to Gotham City. I mean, it was fucking amazing. It was. Oh, I'm getting the chills, dude. I'm getting the chills just thinking of it. Just watching you walk out and just being like, you know what, this is gonna fly. This is gonna work.
So that whole buildup, one of the greatest moments in this film's history was a moment between Sandy and myself that earlier he's coaching me, right? And Sandy's a great coach. Like, I love being coached. I'm very coachable. I listen, and I do. And Sandy had mentioned that I would do anything that he asked me to do. It literally to the point of, I jumped off that building so many times. I can remember Simon and Max
saying that's
really,
it.
Dude,
yeah,
you're going to ask him to jump again? We got the shot. And he's like, no, he'll do it. I know, and I know we can get it
perfect.
And I'm like, here I go. And I went up again, and it was just me and you. I'm like, F everybody else. I don't care what they think. Sandy wanted me to jump off this building. But prior to that, Sandy goes, listen, dude, when you put this cowl on, you will become Batman. I need you to become Batman. You must become Batman, because everything, do you understand? Yes, coach. I got it. I hear you. Blah, blah, blah.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
That was it. And it's like putting on a football uniform or something, right? When you put your helmet on, it's the last part of the uniform to get you ready to go off and become a football player. So we put it on. My whole family's there. And I can remember it, man.
I remember how small the kids were.
Oh, yeah, man. That picture of me kissing Taylor at the end always makes me cry every time. But so Sandy walks up to me to give me some last minute notes right before I go walking out, like you said. You're like, okay, I don't remember what you were saying because I wasn't even listening.
I was telling you what was first up, like what we were going to start with and whatever, like the first like half a dozen shots. We're just going over it with you.
And you're like, do you understand? And I didn't answer him. I didn't say a word. I just looked at him into his soul. I mean, past his eyes into his soul. And I'm like... And I can see the look on your face.
I'm like, is he falling apart? We're getting ready to go. Is he? You're telling me he's losing it now?
And Nita walked up to you. My wife walked up to him and said, Sandy,
what's wrong with Clark?
That's not Clark. That's Batman. And you're like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
let's
go.
Fired up. And I remember walking out down like 3 steps. The rain was going. Everyone went quiet.
Dude, you could hear a pin drop on that set.
Dude, I could hear the noise when I was walking out, and it was like, and I'm just like, okay, here we go, man. I'm walking past Predators, and
the smoke and all
the smoke,
stuff,
and I walk out, and everyone shut up and looked at me like, whoa, like Batman just showed up.
Yep.
And I really, honestly, I swear on everything that's holy, like you said, we were projected into Gotham. I felt like I walked into Gotham. I really, honestly felt like I was Batman.
I know you did.
I mean, and every element added to it. The way you painted the walls, the rain, the way it was coming down, the puddles on the ground, that
was all
the
thought out ahead of time. That was all
everything there, man.
Everything was designed.
And because of that,
There's nothing arbitrary about that movie at all.
set and setting is huge in everything that you do in life, right? If you don't have the right set and setting, if you're going to go do mushrooms, you got to have the right set and setting. You know, it's
Definitely
true.
don't do them alone.
Yeah. So, and when I walked out there, man, it was like, here we go. This is going down right now, and I have to say, it was probably some of the best 4 days of my entire life. I mean, I put that up there with some of the coolest things that I've ever done. But even more than that, the rehearsals were so much fun. I mean, driving up to Burbank once a week and fighting and jumping and just being kids, man.
So
and
much
you were
fun.
jumping off building. We were jumping off buildings, punching each other.
Listen, I might have not been in the shape that I'm in now, but I was still a very physical guy.
Oh, no.
You know,
Yeah.
I could still get up and show you exactly what I wanted and do all the jumps with you and all that other stuff.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, remember, I jumped into the airbag the night of the shoot, the first night. Remember,
Yeah.
just because I was talking to Curdy and I said, hey, you know, I don't want to put him in a situation that I wouldn't be in myself. And you know, when they brought him up to the top of that building, he's like, wow, that's a long way down. I said, well, that's why the airbag's there. And he's like, well, I've never fallen into an airbag before. I said, well, neither have I. First time for everything. Hey, Scott, can I jump into the airbag? And, you know, before Simon and Darren got wind of it, I just remember I jumped into it and it was fun. But, yeah, you know, the shoot was truly magical. That was like you said, right up there with, you know, if you pick like the best week of your life, that's 4-day chunk is definitely in there. But the masquerade at Comic-Con, dude.
Oh, dude.
How many filmmakers get the opportunity to show their film in front of 5,000 rabid fans? Think about that.
And that's an understatement.
Think about the venue. Think about, I mean, dude, even a big theater, you know, like a big IMAX theater or whatever. I mean, maybe it sits 400 people.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right.
There were 5,000 people there.
When I tell that story, I always feel like the people listening to me think I'm exaggerating.
You
bad.
are not. There were 5,000 people throwing
standing
on chairs. Absolutely.
So, okay, we got to go back. So we were going to Comic-Con, and Sandy fought tooth and nail to get in there. And we got in there, and we're in a little room that seats 50, 60 people, maybe a little conference room, like a breakout room that you would go to at a, you know, an event.
But word had started getting out already.
Well, word had got out.
There was a line. There was a line.
Right.
Remember?
And we were passing out those. I
The
still have
cards.
the postcards,
Yeah.
the yellow and black,
Yeah.
you know,
Batman
Batman returns
for real.
Yeah. And that's all it said. And Sandy, like, you know, once again, he pulls the team together. Here, you take these, you hand them out. And we're all dispersed and we're handing them out. And then we're peeking in the room. We're seeing these guys doing, you know, little movies with 4 or 5, 7 people in there, you know.
A
and
dozen
they're-
people.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
passionate. But meanwhile, a line starts building and forming. And I'm thinking, what's all this about? I had no idea. Still, we'd shot the movie. I experienced it, but I had no idea what was about to happen that day. I don't think anyone really did. We had
Best day of my life.
You had expectations, but the level it went to was beyond.
And you know me, and you know what my expectations are, not only for that, but with everything that I do.
Yeah.
And when something exceeds my expectations to that level, dude, that was... Yeah, when
So
that
we go in
guy-
the room. We go in the room, and the guy had, who's that one actor with the voice, the cool? I remember the guy doing the voice of. I love him. Anyway, so we're sitting there, and everyone files out, and then people start filing in for Batman Dead End, and it's over capacity. There's too many people in the room.
We showed it twice, didn't we?
We had to show it twice, yeah, because there was a rush. They requested we show it twice. The fire marshal came in. He's
They
like,
shut it down. Yeah, after that.
but they
yeah.
started working with us, man. They're like, okay, if you can hurry up and get this in, because they wanted to accommodate all these people that were clamoring literally to get in that room.
Yeah.
So I'm like in the 4th row back, and I'm sitting next to me, and then, you know, the first thing hits, boom, you know, and then the whole room goes quiet, and then I'm like, whoa, man, what's going on? And I'm looking around, and then certain things start happening, and the place goes nuts. The movie ends, and you went apeshit, completely berserk.
I was out of my mind.
It was kind of hard not to, though. I mean, just that when you feed off of energy, you rise to that level of energy, and there was no way you could have acted any other way.
You see,
than the way you did.
I get judged so much on that moment, especially since it was put in the documentary.
You know what? But only the people that were there got it.
And even then, like, you're not me. You know, you haven't put in 6 months of your life
selling all your stuff
every day, 7 days a week into this, and then, you know, you're killing yourself on the shoot. You finally get the thing cut, put together, the music, and then, you know, you're there, and now people are looking at it, and it's starting to get like this kind of response. You know, there was no way I could have either predicted that, or I was just so overcome with emotion. I mean, I was running
We got internet.
I was just running on pure adrenaline at that point. You know, it was just pure adrenaline, and it just kept spiking like throughout the day. You know, like it started in that room, and then when that dude, were you with me when the dude came up to us and introduced himself? That guy Jeff, when he said, "I'm the programmer."
I remember seeing you. I was on the other side of the room, like talking to people, because everyone was like wanting to talk to me then, right? I went in the room unknown and came out like famous.
Star, yeah.
I mean, that quick.
No, I know, yeah, and I saw it.
Yeah.
But no, when he came up to me and said, "Hey, you know, I'm the programmer of the Masquerade. You know, we have to show this there." You know, what do you have? And Simon, God bless his heart, for always being prepared. The guy had a digibeta of it in his car. He had it. I mean, they could have shown a DVD,
right?
But the fact that they had the digibeta and they watched it in HD and all that was pretty. I mean, that was the best resolution it could have been, you know.
But we still had to sneak in. I had and Pat McGee.
Yes, yeah, you guys
we had to sneak in, man. Because this thing is sold out. Like you said, there's 5,000 people in this room, filled to capacity, and me and Pat are like, "How are we going to get in?" He's like, "Oh, I know there's a guy I know that works at the back door. He'll let us sneak in."
Yeah.
So he let us sneak in, and the guy had already figured out
who you were,
who I was, and then he's like, "Oh," he lets me go in, and we're all the way in the back. And then the thing starts going off, and I could hear people whispering, like, "What the hell is this? What is that?" You know what I mean? And they're like, "Oh, it's some Batman movie." It's just like these whispers from random
all over the place.
All over the place. And then the one scene, man, with the cape and all that, that's when the place went nuts, and people started jumping up on their seats and screaming and yelling. And I was sitting back like, what the hell just happened? It was like that time went so quickly, and I remember I had to pee so bad. So I wanted to leave the room to go pee, and I go back out, and I'm like, "Hey, can I leave and go pee?" The guy's like, "You can do anything you want. You're Batman." I was like, "All right, cool."
Yeah, you know, it's funny. It's 15 years ago now, but I mean, I still remember so much of that night very vividly, and I could still hear it in my head. Like it was Dead End had played, and they were showing the trailers for the upcoming movies that year.
Big features.
Yeah, and somebody yelled out, "Play the Batman thing again," and everybody went, "Yeah!" It was pretty crazy.
Dude, against feature films. They didn't want to see the feature films that were coming out. They wanted to watch.
We got mobbed after that. Remember that, dude? We couldn't even walk back to the hotel. Insane. And
still yet, it wasn't registering in my brain what was happening and what was going on, because unlike you guys, I wasn't this huge comic book guy and didn't go to comic book stores. I didn't read them as a kid. I remember when you had sent me the animated series, you said, "Look, this is what I want you to study and watch. Forget all that campy stuff that you've seen with Adam West. That's what it is."
Well, look,
but this ain't because I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, that stuff, you know, certainly has a place in the Batman mythos and Batman lore, you know, and I love it. I mean, I watched it when I was a kid and all that, but, you know, as an adult, you know, if I was going to make a Batman movie, that was certainly not going to be the tone of it.
Yeah, and that was my only experience. You'd come home from elementary school, and at 3 o'clock, Batman was on. You'd sit down and watch it. Yeah, either that was your break until you had to do your homework.
Totally,
literally,
I totally remember that.
Yeah, it was Batman. So, yeah, I had no clue, no idea, and then you had sent me the animated series. You go, "This is what I want you to watch," and I remember sitting there with Mitch, who was a little kid at the time.
He was 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah,
little
something
kid.
like that. Yeah, he's 23 now. Taylor's 27. Dude, we had so much fun because they would come up to the auditions and hang out. I remember me, Taylor, Mitch, and Mac were waiting for an elevator, and it was going ding, ding, and we were all like dancing to the dings. Big Mac, he's like ding, ding. We're just in this hallway laughing because we're so tired from working all day long. You know,
that was one of the rehearsals. It was rehearsal day.
Yeah. And those rehearsals, man, they were so much fun. Me and Kurt Carley, practicing the fight scene. I remember he would like go half speed. I'm like, dude, just go.
Come on, dude, bring it.
Just go, bring it. Let's fight. Yeah. He's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, because if you don't, I'm not going to be able to judge what you're doing. I'm going to get knocked out. And at one point, he did hit.
He caught you.
Yeah,
he caught you that one time. You're like, no, I'm all right. Yeah, that was in the little backyard area of the shop. You guys were screwing around back there, and we were shooting some B-roll stuff, and he clipped you. He clipped you in the side of the head.
I remember laying down. There's a scene in Behind the Mask where I'm laying down with my legs folded on the ground. You can barely see me in the bottom corner, and you're up doing, I want you to stand up like this, and it just, those things were really the fun part, and going into the different studios and having, trying on getting the gloves made. And again, I didn't know, even with making the gloves, even the people that I was introduced to, we had legendary people working on this film. Oscar winners, Scott Leva.
Absolutely.
Right? And, Henry, these are people, you
Big
guys.
Mac, he was a big guy, and even back then he was the go-to specialty costume guy.
Dragon,
so many characters. It was definitely a cast of characters, wasn't it?
Literally, we could make another movie from all of this if we went back and went to those areas and showed people. Because I can remember walking in and meeting these people for the first time, and imagine my shock when I'm coming into these places, and Dragon is a character, right?
He's
like a blacksmith, king, and I'm like,
a blacksmith.
People do this, a nerdy blacksmith, a nerdy big black blacksmith
who plays the saxophone,
right? Yeah.
Oh man, what a motley crew we were back then, man. Holy crap.
So I wonder if Stallone ever saw this and what he thought.
Okay, so Eric Dow and I went to the DGA screening of Creed, and he wanted to meet Stallone so bad, and it was, even though it was a small screening, he was mobbed, and I'm watching him, and I'm seeing if I can make eye contact with him to see if he remembered me or would recognize me, and it just turned out that we were on the stairs going down out of the building, and Eric's behind me, and I feel like this tap on my back, and he leaned forward. He's like, look to your right. And I looked, and he was right there.
Oh, wow.
And I tapped him on the arm, and he turned around. I said, hey, you may not remember me. I said, but we almost made a Batman movie together. And he started to smile, and he's like, oh, I remember you, but if I recall, that was a really long time ago. And I introduced him to Eric and everything. But so we did hear from him after the fact. He heard about the whole thing at Comic-Con and everything.
Wow.
And he sent a message to my agent and said, like, hey, just give Sandy my congratulations and all that. Yeah, no, he contacted us and said congratulations and all that. But yeah, I still, I lay in bed at night sometimes and I think, like, man, would it be the legend that it is today? If you just never know. You don't know.
Hindsight,
I could just remember being in his kitchen, like holding one of his kids, like holding Sophia, like drinking an Arizona iced tea, and Jennifer Flavin walks in and he's like, meet the wife, and that was just like, it was freaking surreal, dude.
So you got to do the ending scene when he walked out and he's at the house thing.
Okay, so
this is classic. I love this.
The first time I met him, when I went up there to his house, to his home, I was actually pitching something else. So I had all these models, these maquettes, and I drove up to the house, and it's this big, long, winding driveway with this giant fountain in the middle of the front of the house and everything. And it was raining that day. And, we did our thing, and I gave him the pitch, and we talked, and we kind of hit it off and everything. And I was going to leave the Maquettes there and pick them up, another time or whatever. And we were just talking, and I said, he's like, I was up there for like well over an hour. Yeah. And so I'm leaving, and I get in the car, and I'm pulling out of the driveway, this big long, like, circular driveway with the fountain in the middle. And he's standing out in front of the house. And I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, and it's raining. And he goes like this, like he makes the circular thing about the window. And I roll the window down, and he goes, "Hey, yo, it's the house that Rocky built."
That's awesome.
In other words, he was telling me that to me, that was his way of saying, I was once where you are, kid.
Stick with it.
And stick, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, he's saying, this is what I've become. He was pushing me, like, that's what I thought. And that's what I got out of that.
That's,
but no, I was very fortunate to be able to spend some real time with the guy. And
didn't he have a heavy bag in his backyard? He walked by and punched it?
Yeah, a couple times. He's like, this weather's good for working a bag,
Dude,
he was
so
singing.
classic,
he
man.
was singing, like, he had this, I remember this, like, central
surround sound
speaker
in his house,
system thing in his house, to where, like, from anywhere he was, he could raise the volume or whatever. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I love this song," and he's like singing and everything. I was just like, "Oh my god, I'm in Sylvester Stallone's house, and he's fucking singing." Like, it was just it was
That's
unlike
crazy.
any other meeting I've ever had, because all those quote unquote Hollywood actor meetings and executive meetings are sort of all the same. It's all a bunch of bullshit.
You're in a conference room.
That was a real experience. You know what I mean? I was in the man's home.
Holding his baby.
Yeah,
hold his baby.
Yeah, you're holding Sophia. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, she was 4 or 5, however old she was. She was little. So bizarre. Like, just completely bizarre. And you know what? I don't think anybody, even people in our own little circle, the dead end circle, I truly don't think that they believed it until I put it on film, for the documentary, and actually said it on camera.
Yeah, so,
I don't think that anybody believed me. But I
that's
think
too good of a story to make up, man.
I mean, I couldn't write that stuff. Yeah. I mean, that singing in his house and everything.
So let's segue into another big star that was touched by Batman Dead End, in my opinion. Well, I have Christian Bale. Your buddy, the guy that worked at Warner, David, Dave Williams. And we were at Comic-Con, and he came up and told me, he said, "Clark, I was in the art department today at Warner Brothers, and there was like all these pictures of you on the wall, and the Batman Dead End DVD was on the conference table, and Christian Bale was coming in that day for a meeting." That's what he told me.
Yeah, no, that is true. Okay. That is true.
Yeah. So I don't want to make anything up, because I remembered that, and I thought maybe I built it up over time. So here's what I have built up in my mind. Okay. So I'm picturing, because there were so many things in that we've seen that have been borrowed, whether you borrowed them from the comics or not. I mean, you have to stick with a certain protocol when you're doing a Batman movie, because there's so many things that are specific to that character. So, you borrow. But anyway, we saw different things in different movies after Batman Dead End. You're like, wow, that's pretty much a lot like what we did.
Close.
Very close,
Well, think about it. Up until then, rain, a simple thing like rain, had never been used in a Batman movie. They never shot in the rain.
That's crazy.
Isn't that bizarre? That is true. Go look.
Yeah.
Go look.
That rain made it.
Batman Begins comes out. It's raining for half the movie. He's on the side of the building in the rain when he sees the little kid, and he gives him the scope thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's right out of Dead End to me.
Yeah. So here's my theory. And I wanted Anita to confirm this theory for me, because she ran into Christian Bale at the Oscars or the Emmys or whatever one time. I can't imagine that if all of the photos of me were on the wall in Warner Brothers art department, and the DVD was sitting there, much like you sent me the animated series and said, "Here's your homework." I can't imagine that they wouldn't have taken that DVD and said, here's your homework. This is just speculation on my part.
No, I understand.
And listen to the guy's voice, kind of see how, not that I'm an actor on anyone's level at all. I don't want anyone to think that, but I am only speculating that if that was the case, and if what David said was true, why would they have that there, and what would they do with it? They certainly would send the guy home and go, either do this or don't do this, one or the other. It was used as some sort of reference guide, in my opinion, as to how to either play the character or not play the character.
Well,
what are your thoughts?
I have two things to say about that. The first thing is that, obviously I didn't create the Batman.
Right.
I went into making Dead End based on my love of the character and the incarnations of the character that I was close to at that time, which were pretty much the animated series, the Alex Ross stuff, and Frank Miller, Dark Knight Returns.
Which we got to do that, dude. I'm 55 and feeling ready. I can run through a brick wall. But that punch still hurts my arm, dude.
Yeah, trust me, that goes through my head too. But no, I mean, so I've openly said this before. I didn't do anything that I haven't seen in a Batman comic or in the animated series. I just hadn't seen it put to 35 millimeter film like we did it.
Right.
So when people say, oh, this was a new take on the Batman, this was, something different and all that, it was in the realm of film, of the 35, like a film world. It was different, but you can go back and reference all that stuff to the comics, the Frank Miller stuff, the Alex Ross stuff.
Well, that one scene where it goes into the comic on the making of.
Yeah. So
the face, my face, and then the Alex Ross drawing. They look identical almost, man.
Yeah. And to that point, I know for a fact that Alex has used your face for reference for Space Ghost and some other stuff that he's done since then. Because you just have that look,
which is cool.
Yeah,
man.
That is cool.
I have that Space Ghost, by the way.
No, that's you, dude.
Yeah.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt, that's you. That's your lips. That's everything. Like, it's so blatant.
That's nuts.
But and then the second thing I have to say about that is because obviously I get asked a lot. This comes up. I think the fact that the Batman films post Batman Dead End were darker, more serious, and more Dead End like than the previous stuff had been is not a coincidence. You're never going to convince me of that. I'm sorry. Now, I don't know to what degree they were influenced, because obviously I wasn't there. I'm getting this from guys like Dave Williams, from Jerome Moore, from other people that I can't name that I do know that worked on those films, that told me, hey, like that, like in that short film, like when the cape.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, again, speculation,
right?
Hearsay, whatever you want to call it, but the fact that the films took that direction and went so far into that direction after Dead End, there's no way that's a coincidence. I'm sorry. It's just no way. They saw how successful and a darker, more realistic translation, shall we say, of that character was received. They saw that. And they saw how the fans loved it. And they were probably like, hey, we should, again, 100% speculation,
right,
but we should probably go more in that direction.
Well, smart people copy other successful things. Why would you try and change something that you have evidence was successful? You know what I mean?
But see, to play devil's advocate here, and it's actually quite funny when you think about it. Batman and Robin and Batman Forever were incredibly lucrative movies. They were very financially successful. So had they gone that direction, I mean...
But isn't Chris Nolan more of a darker kind of guy anyway?
He is.
So that would lend to his style.
And Christopher Nolan was hired and put into place before Dead End.
Okay.
You have to acknowledge that. Okay. Now the movie came out well after Dead End, and they started shooting well after Dead End. So I don't know, but the thing is, like you said, it would be wrong to say I feel like they were influenced by me or you, but they were certainly influenced by it.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, that darker, more utilitarian, real world version of the Batman that was not so cartoony and not so idealized or stylized. It was very real. And I say this in the old making of thing that we did. I wanted him to be human. I wanted people to look at you as human.
He bleeds when he gets.
Yeah, he's human. He's got to tape up his hands, and he's almost like a boxer. Before they put the gloves on, they got to put the tape and every. So all that was going through my head, and. Can you find evidence of that stuff in Alex Ross's paintings? Absolutely. That's what inspired me. Yeah. Can you find evidence of that in The Dark Knight Returns? Absolutely. Can you find evidence of that in the animated series? Of course you can. So, I'm going to be influenced by all of those cool things that are around me. The stuff that inspired me, the work of, Bruce Timm and those guys. And I mean, just the first time you read Dark Knight Returns, that's like seeing Star Wars for the first time. You know what I mean? You're never going to get that again. As much as you love Star Wars, or as much as you love that graphic novel, Dark Knight Returns, you'll never have the experience of reading it again for the first time and just that page turning frenzy that you can't wait to see what happens next. I mean, that was the first. I mean, even Neil Adams said it. He's like, that was the first time like Batman got super gritty.
Yeah, I remember that.
Just like, wow, like this is the Batman that I've wanted to see since I was a little kid, and it was, the fact that we had the opportunity to put that type of Batman to film, and we did it before anybody else.
Yeah,
is something really special. And you know what? No one will be able to take that away from us.
People are trying to do it now. I see a current thing, a Bane web series that's going on. Actually, a buddy of mine, Ian Lauer, is playing the Batman in it, and I saw one of the episodes. But going back to the whole costume thing, remember how that came about? You were wondering, like, man, I need something, and at the time, I had to deal with Under Armour. I was one of the first sponsored guys at Under Armour.
One of the first sponsored athletes of Under Armour. That was right when it came out.
These guys, this Under Armour company, they send me underwear and leggings.
Maybe they got something.
You're like, well, gray and this and that. So I called them up, and I could get a hold of them at the time on the phone.
That's right.
And they sent me out the
white.
gray.
No, it was white.
It was white. And you dyed it. Yeah, you dyed it.
They didn't have gray.
Yeah. You dyed it, and you're like, this is it. And that's when Max said, I don't know about a guy in a spandex outfit, if that'll work.
He was holding it in his hand when we went to pick it up from Edwina, who was the woman who dyed it. He's like, well, that's certainly the color. Now we got to see what it looks like on him, And he I always knew, but like just having him look over at me, we were at Dragons, and he looked over at me and was just like, he just made like a face, like he raised his eyebrows and was like, my heart just got that much bigger, like it was just like, wow, like, okay, he digs it, and
yeah, that was
like the stamp of approval, sort of, because he truly didn't know whether or not we were going to pull it off.
He didn't know about me. He didn't know about the costume. He didn't know about all of it, man. And then little by little, it was like, I believe.
It was very incremental.
Yeah.
It was like little things.
Yeah.
Remember when we couldn't figure out how to get the bat on there?
Oh yeah. Yep.
And he's like, I just taped it off and sprayed latex. Yep. And you're just like, holy crap! Like that way it looks awesome, and it stretches, and holy crap! He was the latex god, man.
Oh
god, he's the god period, costume god period. But. You and I were the two guys that I would say benefited the most out of that film. But man, were there so many contributions from so many talented people. I mean, we had a phenomenal crew of people behind us, didn't we?
Oh, it was amazing, man.
Simon, Darren,
still
Vince.
Relationships. Ed Gutentag will go on my lives. I'll see him pop up on my lives, and it's really interesting to see and then I'll see Scott Leva,
sure.
like on like credits on stuff. I'm like, shoot, man, I didn't know who these people were. I didn't know the level at which these people were coming out to support this little dream that you had in the belief that you convinced them on.
Oh, if I was going to do it, bro, it was, I mean, again, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm going to take everything to the absolute maximum level of performance that I can take it.
Right.
I don't do anything half-ass. I'll crash.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'll crash into the wall, but I won't do it half-ass. You know what I mean?
And then having Henry, I remember the night Henry took about 50,000 pictures of my face. He's like, come here, I want to take, and he's snapping, and I'm thinking to myself, what is he doing? I didn't know. I mean, you told me about Henry Alvarez and all that, but I didn't know he was a legend in Hollywood.
There was a lot you didn't know, dude.
Yeah.
And you got an education really quick.
And this guy's snapping all these pictures, and next thing I know, I get this bust, man, which I still have at the house today. It's sitting in my TV room up there on a mantle, and he sculpted that thing. There's like 7 of those done or something.
There was 4 or 5 of them.
4 or 5 of them, each different, each unique, and I have one. So that is, that is a piece of history that I can take away from this, even outside of being involved. I have a legend like Henry Alvarez that took pictures of me and sculpted my portrait. That's pretty legit.
Yeah, and he's gone now. What a shame.
He posted the other day. You still miss him. Yeah, that's
my mentor, man. Yeah. He took me in when I was 19 years old. I wasn't even 20 when I met that cat.
Yeah.
And he took a chance on me big time.
Isn't it awesome how there are people in our lifetimes that will see something in us and believe in us regardless of what other people might say, like you did with me in the movie? Because there were a lot of skeptics.
Or like you did with me. I mean, I consider you a mentor too, as far as my physical fitness and my physique and everything. I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, I saw the athlete in you. I saw the capable person in you, but I also saw the person who allowed life to get in the way, which is just happened,
and just get the better of him.
Yeah, and I I knew you wanted more, and I think the pinnacle of that and the worst part of that was when we were doing Hunter Prey and we're down in Mexico. You were probably in your worst condition of your life, and we're out there.
But you wouldn't know it from the shoot.
Oh
though.
God, no!
I mean, I was running around.
Well, someone was talking about running up sand dunes yesterday. I was listening to Joe Rogan podcast, and he had Elon Musk on there, and wow, that dude's an alien, but that's a whole other thing. But they were talking about running on sand dunes. I'm like, we did that in 117-degree heat in costumes day after day after day. That's a whole different podcast right there.
Yeah.
But that was another fun. If you have not seen Hunter Prey, go online. You can see it. It was a movie we did after.
You get that on Amazon as well.
Amazon. But, one of the other star encounters that Anita had, she was at the Oscars with, she's standing in line getting a drink or something, and ahead of her she sees this guy right at the back of him, and he turns around and looks her up and down, and it's Christian Bale. So she gets starstruck, doesn't know what to say, and he's talking to her like, hey, how you doing, or whatever, and she cannot form words in her mouth because she's blown away. I'm like, Anita. She's like, well, I didn't know what to say. I'm like, out of everyone in the world.
My husband was the Batman.
Yeah. You had something so specific and unique and interesting that he would have loved. But she's like, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. I'm like,
man, she blew it.
She blew it.
You blew it, Nita.
Yeah.
We love you and you're beautiful, but you blew it.
Yeah, you blew it. You choked up right
she
there.
Choked.
Yeah.
Choked.
So what are you working on these days? I know you got the book out.
Yeah, volume 4 of the book just came out, so I'm shipping those. I am prepping my next Kickstarter. There's actually 2 of them, which is going to be volume 5 of the book, and then an action figure project that I'm going to do. I am writing. I just got finished writing one series for Netflix that they're out pitching.
Oh wow!
And I'm writing another one right now.
Really?
So yeah, that's interesting.
So did Netflix come to you?
No. In other words, production companies have come to me, hired me to write a
Dude, Netflix
pitch.
Movies are cool. Their original programming.
Yeah.
I've been stuck on those lately. Like After Party, I watched the other night, and then when you watch one, they link you up with all these different ones in the genre.
Correct.
And you can see that's the interesting thing about movies is you can see a thread weaved through all of these movies that is very similar, right? Like what we were talking about earlier with Batman Dead End.
Yeah.
But that'd be sick if you could get some stuff on Netflix because that's the future.
Well, I want to get obviously my stuff on there,
right?
But so it's kind of a. It's kind of a slow process, but these are known properties that I'm working on.
Oh, okay.
So that was fun, and the usual, just the free diving, the fishing, the gym.
How long can you hold your breath for now?
God, it depends on how deep I am. But, my average dive is like almost 3 minutes. Like if I really push it, if I really
3
want to
minutes
stay
with
down there.
adrenaline pumping, chasing a fish.
Yeah, well.
So that's different
no,
than holding your breath for 3 minutes in your bathtub.
Well, like static, I'm sure I could do longer. Just if I just stuck my head under the water in the pool.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, well, probably closer to 4.
Yeah, but I'm saying going under there, and you had put a post up the other day. You had this gigantic, I don't know what kind of fish.
Yellowtail. Yeah,
You're
it
like,
was a
on
yellowtail.
one breath, I caught this thing.
Yeah.
That's sick, dude.
Yeah, I mean, to you, somebody that doesn't free dive, I'm sure it's impressive. But I dive with guys that are far better than me, dude.
Yeah,
and
Pierre,
these
whatever
guys
his
can
name
hold.
is.
It's crazy. But no, it's and I'll tell you, that's a great workout too. That helps keep me fit.
Speaking of workout and breathing, I brought you a gift today from one of my sponsors.
What
a
did you
training
bring me?
mask.
Oh, wow.
So have you seen these before?
Yes, I have.
So that is for you right there. That's a training mask 3.0. So that will probably help you with
The breath holds.
the breath holds, conscious breathing, thinking about it. So when you do your hour spin in the morning, and you could throw that thing on. It's adjustable. But anyway, I just wanted to
Does it
bring you
make
a
it
little gift.
harder to take in oxygen? Is that the whole point of it?
Well,
Or like,
it creates more resistance. So you see this little dial right here in that
Okay.
white thing?
Yep.
It will open or close up. So the more closed off it is, the less ability you have to draw air through it. So you're going to have to be more conscious.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. But I knew you were
Very cool.
a breath guy, and I thought, what a better gift to give to Sandy Collora than something
Yes.
that's going to help him in his
Hold my
breathing.
breath even longer.
Yeah, and he's holding his breath. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I brought you a weight vest before, and you wear a weight
I wear
vest
that all the time.
underwater,
all the time,
standing at the bottom of a pool.
all the time.
That's amazing.
Couple days a week, easy. One of my favorite things is to put the weight vest on. It's 40 pounds, and I will walk from the shallow end of the pool all the way down to the deep end, underwater, holding my breath. Walk, come up for air in the shallow end. Walk, and I just walk.
Just do laps.
Just walk underwater with the. Oh, it's what a great workout. Yeah, because I find that, I don't know if you're running into this as you're getting older. I every now and then, just because we're alpha males and we have we're who we are, you want to throw up heavier weights. And Chris has seen this to a degree too, like when we're training and stuff. It's like you want to keep up with the guys you're training with that are bigger or that are stronger or whatever, and even just to yourself, like I don't mind throwing heavy weight around, but I notice when I do it, I really start to feel it in my joints, so my workouts these days are more body weight oriented. I do a ton of push-ups, a ton of pull-ups. I've moved further off the weights and keep it more cardio body weight stuff. I still curl, because I want my arms to look good. You want to look good in a t-shirt. Yeah. Just not gonna lie. But it's that type of thing. And I work out in the water a lot. Like I'll just. Laird Hamilton does these, they call them floating L's. You put your legs in L position and you just tread water. And
Core.
You just tread. Oh, it's so core, dude.
So if it's good enough for Bruce Lee and Laird Hamilton, I think it's good enough for anyone, right? Two amazing specimens of humans.
Dude, I watch Bruce Lee videos and just can't believe how ripped that guy was and how fast he was.
It was crazy, man. I have a shirt that I made with Williams from Enter the Dragon on there, and it's got the quote, and it says, "I'll be too busy looking good." I love that line.
Yeah, but the whole fitness thing, it once you can tap into it and really hit a rhythm with it to where you make it part of your life and part of your lifestyle, that's when things really start to happen, because you say to yourself, you make it part of your day, no matter what. And, I used to be the guy when we first met that would say, I don't have time to train. I don't have time to train.
Too busy working on my dreams.
You always have time.
Yeah.
You always have, and if you don't, you make it. You make the time.
Well, if you understand the diminishing returns aspect, like if you're so focused, I get it. People are focused on their life, their goals, their dreams, the things that they want, their family. And these are all very noble and
pursuits.
It's all great. But if there comes a point of diminishing returns where that got in the way of maintaining the one and only body that you have the privilege and the responsibility of
being in,
then it makes no sense, because you can be a much better parent, a much better employee, a much better boss if you understand, like you said,
much better husband,
all of
whatever,
that, man,
much better
all
father.
of that. And it's the beautiful thing that happens when we get to be 50, like you just basically said, our goals and ideas about what fitness is shift.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They have to. How can they not? Because your body, you have to adapt to where your body is, because sitting here and I'm looking at you, Jesus, I can't believe you still look this amazing. But even a guy like you, you can't do what you used to do when you're 21.
And I have no desire to.
No, that's the thing.
I was lifting 25s on the incline today, and here's the thing: is my mind. Talk about Bruce Lee. My mind and my muscle are so.
Oh, that mind-muscle connection is just—I can only imagine what it's got to be for you.
I could literally pump my right bicep just by thinking about it. Just put more blood in this vein and make it go. It's happening right now. The veins are becoming more full of blood because I can just think it in.
You can focus it in there.
I can focus it in. So I can take a 25-pound weight. I can take a bar. I can take whatever.
And get the same pump that you would from 100 pounds.
Yeah, and I'm not killing my joints. I'm not hurting myself, and I don't need to lift heavy. But, I started a program called One Step Body, and I really want to serve a market of people who I believe have been forgotten. I was doing a video before I came in here this morning. I get on Facebook sometimes, and I see these posts. I'm crushing today. Today I'm killing my goals. I'm a 1%er. I get up every day and I kill it. And honestly, I feel like a loser sometimes when I'm looking at these people who act as if every day they're just killing it. I'm like, why am I not killing it every day? I'm Clark Bartram. Like you said, I'm an alpha male. I think a lot of people that aren't fitness people like us, that aren't, maybe A-type personality, they feel lost. They feel like, well, what's out there for me? I'm not that kind of guy.
Our culture and our society, unfortunately, has been supporting this, emasculization, I guess. Men are being emasculated in this current culture, and it's the A personality, alpha male, testosterone junkie guys like me, the adrenaline junkie guys like you and me, we're having less and less of a place in this culture, because for some reason being a fit, successful, good-looking male just isn't celebrated anymore like it used to be. Like a John Wayne or a Spencer Tracy or a Clark Gable or it's sort of gone.
Let me tell you what I saw happen the other day, and this was my thought. I go to my doctor every 6 months. I get my blood checked. And testosterone is one thing I look at because it's important as we age, right?
Absolutely.
In relation to estrogen and all the other hormones and the
estradiol,
balance, right?
All that.
All of that. Homeostasis. We have to be balanced. But I talk to a lot of men over 50 who are interested in that, and here's what I saw. If you get your blood tested, the range is between 300 and 1,200. Now, that is huge. The gap between 300 and 1,200 is enormous. If there were a test and you said, okay, you have between 300 and 1,200 to pass this test, everyone would pass it, right? So most guys I know, even guys in their 20s, are down around 300 somewhere as it relates to their testosterone free and total, their total testosterone. So the doctors will tell them, you're fine. Even if they go in there and say, I feel depressed, I can't get a boner in the morning, I don't want to have sex, all these sorts of things. They're like, well, you're within the range. You're fine. You're at the top of the bottom, right? But you're still within the range, and you feel like crap. So that's one thing. Allowing men to run around with testosterone levels that are equivalent to a prepubescent female. I mean, they're like below 200. They're like literally non-existent. So now what my doctor told me the other day, that the range has been lowered from 300 to 900. So instead of changing the range to 500 to 1,200,
they went the other way.
They went the other way. So I sat back and I started thinking, what's going on here? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to make men, we'll call it wimps, right? Well, sissies, whatever, take away what makes a man, testosterone, by lowering the top end, and they will only allow a guy to get TRT if he tests below
300
2 times. Most guys aren't like me. They don't go to their doctor every 6 months. They might go once a year. So
get a
now,
physical, get the routine blood work.
right.
Because
So 3 years pass and you're below 300. What has happened to you in all that time? You have lost your desire to be what made you a successful businessman, what got you your wife, what helped you create those amazing kids you have, what drives you every day to get up and go to work.
Or go to the gym.
Yeah, all of these things. So I sat back and I had to think to myself, what is going on today in this world where we're like not allowing, a man to be a man in the sense of that.
Well, and again, I mean, you and I can sit here and talk about this intelligently and form opinions based on, our own experiences, our own level of fitness and that kind of thing. But, in the populace, as soon as it gets brought up in the mainstream, you're a misogynist.
Yeah.
It's roid rage. It's whatever, and it's like, it's speaking of roid rage, it's very much like, steroids. I mean, now, again, the average person on the street has no real clue like what anabolic steroids actually are and what they do, and the fact that even these bodybuilders, the Olympia's this weekend?
Yeah.
So, Phil Heath, all those guys, Breon Ashley and all these. I mean, even the guys in classic physique,
right?
They're all taking stuff. But here's the thing: you still have to train.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You still have to train, and if they're all taking it, it levels the playing field. And again, it's like that unspoken thing. Like, have I done TRT? Yeah, I have. I cycle on and off of it. I can't stay on it for an extended period of time because I don't want my own testosterone being able to shut down. So I supplement it with HCG and whatever. Again, all prescribed by a doctor.
Yep.
But the thing is even that, to be blatantly honest with you, and we've spoken about this before, it wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be.
I remember you calling me.
Saying,
I don't feel like Superman.
I don't feel that different on it. What's different is I noticed a peak, a little peak in my libido, and I also noticed my recovery was faster,
which is vital. That's really the main reason why anyone should do is recovery, because that's the problem. As we age, we don't recover as efficiently as we may have otherwise.
But remember, you're talking about a hormone therapy dose.
Right.
Which is
not a bodybuilder.
No, which is infinitesimal compared to the 500 milligrams or 1,000 milligrams a week these guys are taking.
Yeah.
So, I didn't have any more energy. It didn't get me up earlier. It didn't. Now maybe I wasn't taking enough, but I always err on the side of caution and go lower because I don't want to push it, because again, if you want to get personal about it, I certainly don't mind talking about this. My blood pressure goes up a little bit when I'm on TRT, and my hematocrit goes up. I mean, my blood gets thicker. Yep. So I go for blood work every month while I'm on it, because I just want to make sure that, and also what they do is they raise my blood pressure meds. So instead of taking 20 milligrams of lisinopril, they put me on 40. So, it definitely raises my blood pressure. And it makes my blood a little thicker. And
so there's going to be some other effect, right? That's the thing that people don't understand.
Well,
that's connected to some other system and function in the body.
It definitely has its benefits, but I think, like anything else, I think it's going to be specific to the person taking it.
100%. We all metabolize everything differently.
So, do I notice a difference when I'm off? Only in my libido and in my recovery. Right. That's where I can physically notice it and see it. Everything else,
well, those are the two biggest areas.
And I certainly don't notice a difference in size or anything. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make me retain or build muscle easier to me. I stay around 200 pounds, 195 to 200, right in that range.
That's good size for you.
Yeah, almost 6 feet. I'm 6 feet on a good hair day.
You're 5'10". Stop it.
But it is what it is. You know, I mean, and I have no problem admitting that I've taken it, and I've been on TRT before. You know, again, administered by a doctor.
Yeah, I think every man should. Well, that's the one thing I tell guys is, listen, you got to go get your blood checked, because without a baseline understanding of what your body's doing, everything that you buy on the internet, everything that you do, pills, passions, potions, gadgets,
widgets,
widgets, all that stuff is just throwing spaghetti at a wall hoping something sticks, man. So go and get that done. But what I was saying is this one-step body concept. I don't want to market to people who are interested in going to the gym. I'm really kind of changing my whole flow in the industry to get the people out there that have been forgotten, that feel like they can't get up and go after it, and just show them how to do it one step at a time. And the type of people that I'm attracting, it's really neat. So my career shifted in the sense that I don't identify as a bodybuilder or a fitness model or any of that anymore. I am a coach now to
You're
people.
a life coach.
Yeah, and who am I to teach anyone how to live their life necessarily? But I want to be an inspiration and encouragement, a source of information for people who feel left behind and like the industry has left them behind. Because in reality, if you go online, you look and see all these young 26-year-old guys who look great and know their stuff, it doesn't resonate with a 55-year-old guy in, Dubuque, Iowa somewhere who is just trying to lose a few pounds and have recovery and have a boner in the morning, and feel good about, it's real, man.
Yeah, I mean, those are real people, real world problems.
There are a lot of people out there like that, and I think that's the biggest part of the community now. But anyway, we're gonna probably wrap this thing up. Sandy, where can people find you if they want to get into your books, or you're going to be appearing at any Comic-Cons or any of that sort of stuff coming up?
I will be at Monsterpalooza in April. I mean, it's kind of a ways off, but I'll be there. The easiest place to find me is on Facebook, under Sandy Collora. I have an Etsy shop if you want to buy my books and artwork. That's just go to Etsy and type in Sandy Collora. I believe it's called Creature Arts Studio is the name of my shop. And you can always get me on Facebook, and I'm pretty easy to find.
Easy to find, ladies and gentlemen. So I just want to tell you out there, man, I am excited about having Sandy on here today, because he's been a guy in my life who's really challenged me to take my life to the next level and given me opportunities and believed in me. And that's really what the Pants Off podcast is all about, is helping you realize that your life is worth living and there's a lot to live for. So find that person that believes in you and let them bring the best out in you, because you are awesome. Make it a great day. Peace.
You're listening to the Pants Off podcast with Clark Bartram and Jeremy Jackson.
CBT's Performance Apparel, where fashion meets performance. Upload your custom design or grab the CBT's Deal of the Week at clarkstees.com. The podcast with CB and JJ is sponsored by Providence Video Productions in Escondido, California, providers of full creative, video, and audio production services. Utilizing state-of-the-art professional equipment for all your broadcast needs. Webpage, embedded or live streaming videos and podcasts. Aerial drone videography. Music videos, 3D animation, studio and field production. Contact us at providencevid.com.